Yeah, one of the users actually asked the question. He says, is there a difference between sex with a wife and husband and lust? And they're basically asking, what is lust?
And I have people write to me about this, isn't it lust when I make love to my wife? Isn't lust a bad thing and we're not supposed to be lustful? And this comes from a misunderstanding of the word lust. You can lust after lots of things. You can lust after chocolate. Lust means that you have a mental obsession with something, that you get so focused on it that you want it, and it's all your thoughts are about. You think about it. You think about how you're going to get it. You can have lust for lots of different things. Lust is not sex. They're different things. Sex is sex. Lust is an experience in yourself where your mind is being copped by something that you can't not think about. Okay? In other words, you just get into it. So don't confuse horniness with lust. Don't confuse sexuality with lust. Understand what lust actually is. Right? Lust is an obsession. So I think that, judging these things and saying something is good or bad or is lustful, that's all mental process. If you're experiencing lust, you know it because you feel that it's what occupies your thoughts. It's what you become preoccupied with.
Well, I mean, when I relate to lust, I think of how you were describing it. It's that imbalance where you're stuck in that, and that's, I mean, I don't know how to describe that very well. Maybe you can express it a little bit better, but it's that being stuck in that sexual energy where you can't. It's a very different thing. Like as in a married relationship, when you have a balanced relationship and it's just part of,
The problem when you have kids and you have a professional life and everything else, the balance tends to swing the other way. And we say to each other, hey, we got to get some time to ourselves, and we have to create a situation because, it doesn't start in the bedroom. You have that little thing that goes on. And, maybe when you were courting, you had the luxury, to just be together whenever you wanted. But once you build a life together, then you have to plan. Then becomes the whole controversy, well, how do we be spontaneous with each other, and have the joy of making love spontaneously and still plan, we're going to have a date night next Tuesday,
Well, where do you...
Great dilemma, huh?
There's a lot of people that... I've read a lot of people who actually believe that Sikhs should only have sex for procreation. Basically to have kids, and that any sex with your wife or husband other than that is lust.
Yeah, I think these are the same people who say, dancing is bad, and, how many ways can you shut yourself off? The question is, how do you relate to sex? And this we come back to that obsession thing. If it's all you think about, and it's what you're focused on, and that becomes the imbalance in your life, that you constantly want to have sex with this person, with that person, with your wife, whoever it is, then it just becomes an imbalance. I mean, life is a flow, and you have to flow with it. And there's a certain, juiciness to be with someone and to feel the interplay of that energy and to love them. And you can be fun and sexy and playful with someone and not have to necessarily consummate it at that moment, because sometimes anticipation is a lot of the fun, So I would say every marriage should have that love and that joy in it. It should become a fun thing. If it's not a fun thing, why bother?
I feel like there is like a bridge to this that is not being covered somehow. Like it does say left and right in Gurbani, he who indulges in sexual pleasures now is in pain hereafter. The person who conquers his sexual desires now, attains the fruits of God. And it's like what I hear you guys saying, sex is good, sex is okay, but not recognizing where the root of this misunderstanding comes from, which is this discipline with sex. And how do you recognize that discipline and still have sex be okay?
Yogiji used to say, sex is everything and sex is nothing. In the large scheme of things, and we talked about this before in our video, right? sexual energy is just that energy that flows through everything. It's the creative energy of the universe. Om. It's the same energy. That's how everything moves and creates and pushes forward. But it's a human thing to become imbalanced or become obsessed or become... Oh, and the best thing is the duality, right? There's this big scandal in the Catholic Church with pedophile priests, they call it, right? That these guys are very celibate, and on the outside and on the inside, they're going and messing with the choir boys in the back room. So I say, as soon as you create a duality about sex in yourself, right, then you make it a forbidden thing. The sex is a bad thing and is forbidden. Then you create a polarity in yourself that will trap you because you find yourself being hypocritical and feeling one way and acting another way and trying to keep a certain on the outside. The question is, how do you create a healthy relationship with your own sexuality, be at ease with it, and express it in your life in a healthy way? It's just creative energy. So why get hung up on it?
So how does a person reconcile, like they read a line from Gurbani that says, conquer your sexuality so you can, attain the fruits of God or whatever.
Conquer any of the things that take you away from yourself and your conscious awareness of yourself, whether that's pride, whether that's anger, whether that's lust, whatever it is. Any of those things can pull you off balance and take you away from your own consciously being aware of your own consciousness, right? Because you get trapped in it. It's no different than anger. When you get angry, anger consumes you. You get lost in that anger. You do something you didn't mean to do. You act in the heat of the moment. Lust is the same thing. You act out of that desire instead of acting consciously. So why even separate any of these things from the other? They're all about the same thing. They're all about getting pulled off your center. They're all about being imbalanced or allowing yourself to be consumed. Whether it's the flames of lust or the flames of anger, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You're still losing yourself into that obsession that you think it's okay to do that. So, balance yourself.